Good morning, my people, my people, my people. My name is Chief Strongblood, St. Vincent and the Grenadines' favorite and most hated son, the diaspora machismo. As a patriotic Vincentian who loves his people, I owe it to my people, myself and my conscience to let you know that Ralph Gonsalves Alzheimer's is expanding. It's getting worse and worse, and it is increasing at a very fast rate. The last time I brought to your attention events that is related to Ralph Gonsalves Alzheimer's and his dementia, it was when he held a press conference to deal with his visit to Venezuela for medical attention. And the reason why I conclude that his Alzheimer's is escalating at a very fast rate is the fact that the last thing I brought to you that dealt with Ralph Gonsalves Alzheimer's, in that press conference, which lasted for 3 hours, we saw Ralph Gonsalves only speaking for 32 minutes. And back to back, within the space of less than a minute gap, he had 2 bouts of dementia. This is showing that his Alzheimer's is escalating at a very fast rate. I am not only going to tell you this, I am going to bring the proof that his Alzheimer's is excelling at a very fast rate. Listen to this video.
Yes, in dealing with the cooking gas, we also have to look, as we are going forward with other commodities, the nature of the increases consequent upon COVID because of the supply chain problems, which in part is a euphemism for the operation of monopoly capitalism in the market in relation not only to fuel, but also transport, container traffic, wheat, and the like. And these are pressing concerns, in addition to all what we have had in a more structural sense, and those which have come upon us by exogenous or external circumstances of a more episodic nature. The climate change, Hurricane Elsa, was so for itself, the eruptions. So Camilo is going to speak in some succinct way about those matters.
After you have listened to this rambling of words, the average person who would listen to this will say, I didn't understand what he said. It doesn't make sense to me, but it's probably just my inability to comprehend what was said. If you ask anyone who have listened to this clip, what is the meaning or the intent of what is being said in this clip, no one will be able to tell you. That is because he is not saying anything. This is one of the ways people with Alzheimer's use words to hide their dementia. He was dealing with the cooking gas, and he says, in dealing with the cooking gas, we all have to look, or we are going forward with the commodities of the nature of the increases. Subsequently to COVID, he held me at that point because of the supply chain problem, which is a euphemism for the operation of monopoly capitalism in the market. Let me explain to you what a euphemism is. Euphemism is a substitute word that is used to describe a particular thing in a more gentle way. For example, you say a man die. Die may seem harsh based on the context or who you are speaking to. So instead of using the word die, you may use the word he passed. He passed does not have the rough connotation as the word die. Or someone was fired from their job. He was let go from his job. So when he say, because of the supply chain, which is a euphemism for the operation of monopoly capitalism in the market, what you're saying, for the operation of monopoly capitalism in the marketplace is a substitute phrase for the word supply chain problem. And I want you to go on and examine the rest of the words and put them in context of dealing with the cooking gas, which he was dealing with at the time. And you will see nothing that he says here ties in to the cooking gas issue which he was addressing. Here we see he had another bout with dementia where he forgot what he was saying. And instead of admitting it, he rambled on until some form of memory came back and he was able to either start anew, deal with a different issue in less than 30 seconds from his first bout with dementia. Let me make it clear here. Ralph Gonsalves did not went to Venezuela because he was having a pain in his side. Ralph Gonsalves went to Venezuela because his dementia, his Alzheimer's has been progressing at such a fast rate. He didn't think the Cubans would be able to deal with the progression of his Alzheimer's. He wanted to try something new. So he went to Venezuela so he can deal with the Alzheimer's problem, the frequent dementia that he was experiencing. People who are suffering from Alzheimer's, when they're having a bout of dementia and they have a strong vocabulary, they are able to throw out words to hide their bout with dementia.
Sitting in space and lost. Then I'd recover and I'd go on. But this happened many times. And so they're subtle. And I could very well get away with hiding those. You wouldn't know if I didn't tell you. Most of it is things that just aren't real apparent at this point.
Do you think part of it is because you're smart and you can sort of hide probably things, those deficiencies, you can cover them up?
Absolutely. That's why they haven't made the diagnosis yet.
We all know that Ralph Gonsalves loved the press, he loved the limelight. It is his desire to take all the attention for himself. He speaks on behalf of every member of cabinet, of every permanent secretary in every ministry. This is his habit. He addresses everything that happened because he is a micromanager. But here we see Ralph Gonsalves was having a 3 hours plus press conference, and he only spoke for 32 minutes. In that press conference, he had with him Soboto Caesar, Camilo Gonsalves, and Orlando.
Naturally, the press secretary who would help to guide any questions we have. I have with me the Minister of Finance, Camilo. We have the Minister of Agriculture, Soboto, and the Minister of Social Development and Housing, Orlando, because I want this press conference to address a number of matters.
They were responsible for taking up the bulk of time. It is not because he wants to address particular issues, as he has said, but it's because he is unable to keep a trend of thought and speak fluently without being confused for any duration of time.
And continue to help, and that's why I'm writing on a lot of things. Because
Another sign of this is that he have also confessed that he's taking a lot of notes. Why? Because he is unable to remember simple things which he would normally be able to remember and cover and speak about it. Now he have to use written aid in order for him to remember the simple and basic things. If you remember when I tell you that his appearance in the public is going to become scarcer and scarcer, let me qualify this so that you won't think I'm just making it up. Listen to this video again. Closes the gap between the sinuses and it gives him the ability to start to think clearly. But it only lasts for a small period. Very soon and very soon, you will see his appearance on radio and his appearance in public will start to decrease more and more and more because he will be unable to function as a human. He will not be able to function in the capacity of Prime Minister, but they would want to keep him there as a figurehead. His appearance have already become scarcer and scarcer. Every Wednesday morning, like clockwork, Ralph Gonsalves will call into 705 radio on a program that was particularly designed for him called Face to Face, where he will always speak to Johnny P for 2 and 3 hours, rambling on about everything. Not because it is a need, but because he had the facility and he was willing to use the facility. You go on Radio 705 website or go to their Facebook page and you will discover that program completely stopped. What they do the interview in private, not live on Facebook and on the radio. They do the interview and they cut out all of the bad pieces where he exhibited signs of dementia, and they post only short clips where he made sense. Go and check it out for yourself. My people, Mr. Arnim Eustace, when he was experiencing a foot problem, he thought that he cannot serve the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines in the capacity of a member of the opposition. He resigned his post as a member of the opposition and he went home and he allowed someone who in his mind was more capable of serving the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Someone who is able to run about and do the things that needed to be done. Ralph Gonsalves is experiencing a foot problem, also like Arnim Eustace. Unlike Arnim Eustace, Ralph Gonsalves is experiencing Alzheimer's disease, and it is rapidly increasing. Do you think he would look at the best interests of our country like Arnim Eustace did and say, I am unable to function in the capacity of Prime Minister. I am unable to make rational decisions. It's time for me to step back and let someone else take over the leadership. No, because he is in love with power. He wants to be remembered. All of his projects is so that people will remember him when he cannot remember himself and when he passes. You understand? That is why he have caused his party to apply to the planning division for a billboard of him, Soboto and Camilo to remain at French's Gate and at Sign Hill Gate permanently. When is Ralph Gonsalves going to recognize or realize that he is a detriment to the country and not a benefit, and step aside and have someone else take his position as Prime Minister? My name is Chief Strongblood, St. Vincent the Grenadines' favorite and most hated son, the diaspora machismo. Talk to you soon.